Hello everybody, so today I want to quickly look at the pop force node, which is used in our particle or pop simulations. So I think today we'll start off with the emitter, and maybe I'll use a pig this time. I like to use different shapes just for different examples rather than just using the old sphere. It's quite large, I think. Let's maybe make this small. In fact, do I need to transform? No, I don't. Let's just have this at 0.4. Okay, that looks good. Alright, and then maybe I'll remove the shader. Let's make the difficulty, yeah, that's better. We've just got a basic shape there. Okay, and now I'm gonna go into our pop network, which we've looked at in previous lessons. So let's do that. Okay, go into here. We don't need that. Alright, and we should get that filling up now with particles. Alright, that looks good. Okay, so let's take a look at the pop force node. Oops, that's a mistake. And the way to do this is, let's first of all, of course, put it in pop force. Alright, and I can see here where am I going to put this one. So I'm going to pop it just here. Okay, and I'm going to add a force maybe in X. Let's just make that 1 and see what we get. Absolutely nothing. Okay, brilliant. Let's remove this, and you'll see now that it's popped up these different colors, right? Little purple input and output, and that's to help us decide where we want to put this. Now we can see here that there's a grey line, and a purple line. Now we've got a purple input and output, so where do you think it needs to go? Yeah, you're right, it goes in the purple line, in the purple network. Now why it has to go here, actually I don't know. There will be an explanation for that. I don't know what that is, but just as a little clue, if you're wondering where to put these things and they don't seem to be working, there's a clue in the colors. Okay, so we're going to pop this one in here. I've got a force of 1, so let me see. I should expect it to go, I think, this way. Let's see. Yep, there we go. And this is a force, so it's going to be an accelerator, which means it's going to get faster and faster as it goes along there. Alright, now it looks a bit boring, that, but luckily I have some noise here. Okay, so let's make this down to 0 again. Now I've just got it filling up yet again. Alright, good. And I'm going to add some noise to this time. This amplitude tells me basically how fast that noise is going to be, how much power that's going to have. So let's just increase that maybe to 1, and let's see what we get. Yeah, and there we go, right? That's cool. So now this emitter is creating some noise out of this. Yeah, that looks cool. All right, but I want to take a look at this swirl size. Now if you look here, you'll see that some of the pieces seem to be kind of holding together a little bit at the beginning. Let's just look at that. You see how it kind of comes out in kind of clumps, and then it kind of looks like it's just all breaking apart. Now if I reduce this down to say 0.1, the swirl size is going to be smaller, which means I shouldn't really get much clumping. And you can see here that it all just comes out like, I don't know, like a bunch of bees or something, right? So it's less so. Now there's a slight bit at the beginning there, but pretty much nothing, right? Now if I want to make those clumps much larger, let me go up to say 10. Let's max that out there. Now I can see that these clumps are staying together a lot more, and it's almost starting to look like, you know, a flock of birds when you see these sometimes, or maybe some kind of fish that swim in a shoal together. So it's given that more effect to that. It's keeping everything more kind of controlled, I guess, and as it gets lower, of course, this gets much more chaotic. Alright, now the swirl scale is simply a multiplier for this, but I have the added effect that I can use it in X, Y, or Z, so I can control the different components in that. And the only one I want to look at too is probably the pulse length. Let's take a quick look at that. So I'm going to maybe go to 1, And yeah, okay, maybe I'll make that more, then it might be easier to see. Maybe 3, actually maybe go 6. Okay, I'm just living on the edge today. All right, so now I can see I've got this kind of swirling, and if I can look there, you can see how it's changing direction. Each time there, you can see it's changing, and it seems to be changing, like, I don't know, every second or so, right? And in fact, it is changing every second because my pulse length is at 1. And if I decrease that, so I'll make it say every 10th of a second, all right, I can see now that it seems to be moving direction. See, it's changing direction much more frequently. All right. Now if I put this at something high, like maybe 20, so now we're going to do it every 20 seconds, I can see it's only hitting off on one direction. It's starting to change slightly now, but you see how slow that's going, and that's because the pulse length is much larger. Alright, so maybe let's make this pulse down to about 6. Alright, okay, how's that looking? That's pretty good. Now the roughness, I think, will mainly concern the edges. Let's take a look at that. If I remove the roughness completely, okay, okay, so I can see here that actually the edges are very intact, so I got that slightly wrong. So if I remove the roughness to 0, you can see how it's just kind of a line here. So that's the roughness for you. So if I want to mess up those edges, let's make this high to 1. Now I can see that those edges kind of break apart much more, right? So again, if I want to keep this much more controlled, less erratic, I can decrease this roughness and it keeps it all, you know, kind of like maybe a firework or something. Seems to be a little bit more controlled. Okay, and these are the ones I haven't really used. But hopefully that helps. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you. So I can combine this force here. So let me have, say, a force of 3 going in X, and added my noise, right? And now maybe I will change the pulse actually to 1. Let's see how that goes. All right, and now I'm starting to see this noise pattern, you see, affecting what it was doing before, which was basically nothing, right? It was just going in a straight line. Let's add another pop force, and I just want to show you what we had before. So remember before, if I want to make this 3 as well, all right, so I can see that this is just a straight line here. Okay, and that now I've added my noise. Let me put that one in, and I can see how it's changing things around. Now I think what I will do is try to make the swirl, the swirl a bit lower. Now it should be a bit more erratic. Yeah, it is. Okay, well, that's kind of a nice shape. Alright, so you can play around with that and get the effect that you want, but I like that. It's a really great node, this one, and really good for creating some kind of chaos or some kind of randomness in your particles. So hope that's useful, and you guys have a great day. All right, bye bye.